Tap chime in and upload your images, then we may share them on air or online.
ABC 3340 News starts now with a Weather Authority storm alert.
As we speak, strong storms are rumbling through parts of central Alabama. Alabama's chief meteorologist, James Spann, is watching the radar very closely.
But James, at this moment, no warnings out there right now.
That's correct. We had one severe thunderstorm warning about 20 minutes ago. That warning was canceled. And here's the situation. Initially, the storms formed over West Alabama early this afternoon. Now they have shifted over into the eastern side of the state, especially right up and down Interstate 59 north and east of Birmingham. This is the storm cluster that prompted that warning through parts of St. Clair County. They've fallen below severe limits, but you've got hail, gusty winds, frequent lightning in here. And I say hail, probably small hail. Heavy rain falling just north of Springville on top of Straight Mountain, Whitney Junction back up towards Steele. Heavy thunderstorms in progress just north of the city of Gadsden. And again, this is right along Interstate 59 here. So small hail, gusty winds, heavy rain, frequent lightning. All this stuff gradually dies down later tonight. And this moist air is going nowhere. We've got our forecast and the latest on Tropical Storm Cristobal in the Gulf coming up in minutes, so stay with us.
He wanted to be changing the world, and he didn't just talk about it, he went out and did it.
Sergeant Stephen Williams with the Moody Police Department lost his life in the line of duty early this morning while responding to a call to a motel. We have team coverage tonight of this shooting. Cynthia Gould talked with his colleagues about the kind of man and officer he was.
We start, though, with ABC 3340 Stephen Quinn, who talked with the local sheriff about this investigation. Stephen, tell us what you've learned.
Pam, we know that Sergeant Stephen Williams was called to this motel late last night with an officer trainee. The sheriff tells us as soon as they got here, they were under fire, and it quickly became clear they were in the fight for their lives. That's what it sounded like last night as gunfire erupted outside of this motel in Moody. Today we know a man and a woman are in custody. We're told the two are from the Birmingham area. They are not yet being identified. That's expected to happen when charges are filed, possibly as soon as tomorrow morning. Mourners laid flowers outside of the motel as police continued their investigation this afternoon. We're told multiple weapons were found inside the motel room. Sheriff Billy Murray signaled that drugs or other illegal contraband were also found.
I think it'll be abundantly clear that the Moody Police Department responded as they should, and they took due caution to handle an incident. But as you well know, just looking at what's happening in our country, that some things are predetermined. Some people have predetermined the outcome of what they're going to do.
The sheriff making a concerted effort and a point to say that there is nothing in this investigation that leads them to believe that the killing of Sergeant Williams was in any way tied to the social unrest that is seen across the country over the last 2 weeks. Live in Moody, Stephen Quinn, ABC 3340 News.
A huge void is left for those who knew and loved Sergeant Williams. ABC 3340 Cynthia Gould is live at the Moody Police Department where so many are heartbroken tonight. Cynthia?
Yeah, Brenda, it has been such a tough day out here. A good friend, a good leader, a good police officer. That is how they're describing this sergeant, all rolled up in one. You can see the flags at half-staff throughout the city here. So many emotions as this department and community mourn the loss of their officer. Sergeant Williams worked here in Moody, also in Alabaster, Bessemer, and Calera over his 23-year career. He was awarded Officer of the Year last year. Those who knew him well say Williams always was a mentor, always willing to teach someone else. In a letter to a young officer, he wrote, quote, "You cannot save the world, but what you can do is help one person at a time."
Just live life to its fullest. He loved riding motorcycles. He adored his 3 kids.
Of all the people like you think it would happen to, it would never be Stephen that you would consider. He was a very good police officer. He was tactically sound, loved by his community. He was very friendly. You know, he was no pushover either. He was just a great cop.
Fisher and Williams work together on a group called Humanizing the Badge. Their goal, improve those relationships with the community, which are so important right now. That group does have a worldwide reach, and messages are pouring in from all over. Everyone's so sad about this tragic loss. Live in Moody, Cynthia Gould, ABC 3340 News.
Sergeant Williams is the second officer killed in the line of duty in Alabama this year. In February, Nick Arrear with the Kimberly Police Department was shot and killed during a chase on Interstate 65. The suspect in the case is facing capital murder charges. The case was bound over to a grand jury in early March.
Charges against Derek Chauvin, the former Minnesota officer fired following the death of George Floyd, have been upgraded now to second-degree murder from third-degree murder. The 3 other officers who were also fired now face charges of abetting. If Chauvin were to be convicted, he now could face up to 40 years in prison. As protests continue across the United States, ABC 3340's Ashley Gooden joins us this afternoon in Tuscaloosa. Ashley, an organization familiar with justice, organized the protests that you are covering right now.
Pam, that's right. We're kind of in the intermission, if you will. The SCLC is going to hold a protest at 5:30. The other one just wrapped up. It started around 3 o'clock, and people were out here in the rain with their signs and umbrellas. So some people went home to change clothes and get dry so they could come back for this one. But what's very special about this one is that leaders that were protesting and marching in the 1960s are here to teach a younger generation how to make change. And I did get a chance to speak with one of those members, the younger generation. Here's what he had to say.
If we really want to get down to it, it goes right back to voting and who you put in office with every election there is. You see what I'm saying? And most people today, they don't really want to do that, but they want to riot and they want to protest.
And a peaceful protest is planned. They also do have a speaker who is planned to speak. He's actually the president of the SCLC, which is the title that Martin Luther King Jr. used to hold. We'll check back in with you guys as soon as everything wraps up, but they do plan to have about a 45-minute protest here. Live in Tuscaloosa, Ashley Gooden, ABC 3340 News.
Quick note, the National Weather Service in Birmingham has posted a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is for parts of Etowah in St. Clair counties. Here's a look at that storm from the Gadsden Skycam. There's some ragged cloud bases here, but there's no tornado threat. The main issue, it's coming from large hail. Here's a look at the warning itself. This is your polygon. This is basically along Interstate 59 for areas just to the northwest of Gadsden, northwest of Asheville. Within this zone, right in through here, there could be some large hail falling, maybe up to 1 inch in diameter. This would include places like Atala, Duck Springs, Reese City, Steele, Chandler Mountain. So again, that is a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Etowah, St. Clair counties until 5:45 this afternoon. More weather coming up in minutes. Don't go away.
Birmingham police are searching for the person who robbed the CVS on Gadsden Highway Tuesday evening. Police say the suspect was armed and demanded Xanax and did leave with a large quantity of prescription drugs. If you recognize this person, call Crime Stoppers and you can remain anonymous.
New information now in the Anaya Blanchard case. The suspect charged in her death appeared in court this afternoon in Lee County. The capital murder case against Ibrahim Yazid will go to a grand jury. Police say Yazid abducted Anaya Blanchard from a gas station in Auburn and then later shot and killed her. The Jefferson County inmate who was found unresponsive in his cell last month had meth, heroin, and fentanyl in his system. That's according to the autopsy report on VJ Lipscomb. They say that his cause of death is listed, though, as accidental.
If you were hoping to cure your summertime blues at the Alan Jackson concert in Coleman, you'll have to wait a little longer. The reason the country star is postponing Friday's show next at 5.
Thank you for watching ABC 3340 News, the station working for you.
The base of the 115-year-old Confederate monument that once stood in Birmingham's Lynn Park, as you can see, is gone. That monument was taken down by city crews. The crews began working Monday. It took them 2 days to do it. Of course, the monument was defaced during protest and riots Sunday night. All of that turned violent. Downtown businesses were damaged that night, and now many places have the windows and the doors boarded up. Some businesses are just closed. Now, some local groups have created a fund to try to help the businesses rebuild. ABC 3340's Muriel Bailey joins us live downtown. Muriel, tell us more about it.
Pam, you know, some of these businesses down here are boarded up, and you can see here, as you mentioned, the windows and the doors are boarded up. Some are trying to hide those holes in their windows, while others are just trying to protect what they have. At least 26 businesses were damaged. To some extent, 5 were burned. Rev Birmingham, along with several other organizations, have teamed up to create the Birmingham Business Relief Fund. And Rev's CEO David Fleming says the group is in contact with business owners and hopes the financial help will go a long way to cover the losses.
We all have been dealing with small business and business losses because of COVID. We knew that this was a very vulnerable time and that we needed to create some relief funds. Businesses need to know that they have the support of the community, because ultimately a business is run by someone, owned by someone, and they're people too and part of the community.
Fleming says at last check they raised about $40,000. He says the goal right now is $75,000. If you'd like to help out, you can donate online. We do have that information for you right now at abc3340.com. Reporting live in downtown Birmingham, Muriel Bailey, ABC 3340 News.
While protests over racism and police brutality following George Floyd's death continue across the U.S., Floyd's family visited the spot where he took his last breath today. Services are planned over the next 6 days in Minneapolis, Houston, and North Carolina.
Well, this afternoon, more than 24 Tuscaloosa County ministers gathered at the courthouse to remember George Floyd.
ABC 3340's Annie Mapp talked with them about why they felt it was very important to come together.
Black and white pastors from all over Tuscaloosa County united to stand up against inequality.
The pastors of Tuscaloosa County want to come together across divides of race, denomination, socioeconomics, to present a united front in Christ to say we can resolve this issue together.
The pastors stood outside the courthouse praying for peace and equal opportunities for all.
We must be the modern day voice crying in the wilderness for all people.
The decision to come together was made Tuesday after several days of protests following the death of George Floyd.
This is a gigantic gathering. Not necessarily in numbers, but the impact that this can have. I'm extremely excited that our white brothers not only feel what we feel, not only want to speak against it, but they want to stand with us for justice, not for anything selfish, not for anything ungodly.
At 70 years old, Pastor Moore says he's never witnessed ministers coming together like this before.
I appreciate that. I just think it's a great moment, not only for our city, but I believe this is a model that can go across our state and go across our country.
In Tuscaloosa, Annie Mapp, ABC 3340 News.
The 51 ministers at today's gathering also signed a statement saying that they support equal treatment for all people.
The number of COVID-19 cases in Alabama now stands at nearly 19,000. In the last 14 days, we have seen 5,500 new cases. The State Department of Public Health says of the confirmed cases, just over 11,000 people are presumed recovered from the virus. COVID-19, though, is forcing another event to be canceled. A cycling competition in Anniston usually is a big money-making event for downtown businesses.
ABC 3340's Byron Khalil is live in Anniston with more on the businesses and organizations expected to take a loss. Byron?
Well, some downtown businesses are usually busy with customers in town for the competition. One shop owner tells me she can have up to 2,500 people coming through her restaurant in one day.
Not having that many people in that close of a proximity is probably it's better to err on the side of caution.
Marcus Pettis owns Fun Wheels Inc. in Oxford. He says the decision to cancel the Sunny King Criterium and Noble Street Festival was the right move, but it won't slow down cycling sales for his business.
Here, I think more people are cycling now than I can ever remember. Gyms got shut down as well, and people needed an outdoor activity to do.
It's a different story for shops in downtown Anniston, where the weekend event is normally held. The owner of Peerless Saloon and Grill says the Saturday of the Criterium brings in 4 times the amount of sales as a normal Saturday. A downtown bike shop owner says they see an influx in customers too. Annually, the event is responsible for a $1.5 million economic impact. Anniston City Council member Ben Little says the event puts a spotlight on Anniston, and the city benefits from having tourists in town.
The event is not measured necessarily in dollars and cents, but is measured in bringing people from across the nation here to Anniston.
And charities like Interfaith Ministries and Relay for Life of Calhoun County are also taking a hit from these canceled events. Both groups usually receive donations from sponsors and advertisers. Live in Anniston, Byron Khalil, ABC 3340 News.
Got to tell you about changes for another planned event. If you had plans to attend the Alan Jackson concert this Friday, you're going to have to wait. Because of the threat of severe weather in South Alabama, the concerts set for Coleman and then for Fairhope have both been rescheduled. They will be next weekend, that is June 12th and June 13th. We talked with law enforcement earlier about plans to make sure that you stay safe when the show does go on.
We know people have cabin fever. We're all wanting to do something. We've been locked in our houses. We've been, our normal entertainment hasn't been there. And the city is excited to be helping to host this concert. So we want it to go off. We want it to be a big success. But we are in a pandemic, so there will be rules. The way the cars are going to be parked, there's going to be social distancing between cars. You will be allowed to get out of the car, but you have to stay next to your car.
Again, though, this Friday's Alan Jackson concert in Coleman has been postponed until June 12th.
Right now, southern Mexico is under a tropical storm threat as Tropical Storm Cristobal made landfall. The National Hurricane Center says flash flooding and mudslides are likely to continue across Mexico and parts of Central America over the next couple of days. If the storm turns north into the Gulf of Mexico, it could pose a threat to the U.S. by this weekend.
Now, your latest forecast from the Weather Authority.
Some ominous clouds on the Gadsden Skycam. Very strong storms in progress in Etowah County. The storms mainly producing large hail. That's the main threat. There is no tornado risk involved with this. Let's go right to the radar, and you can see we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of St. Clair and Etowah counties until 5:45. You've got Gadsden right here. The core of these storms along U.S. Highway 11, places like Atala down towards Steele, up on top of Chandler Mountain, back up toward Duck Springs and Reese City. We could see some large hail, gusty winds, a lot of lightning involved here. So again, that is a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Etowah and St. Clair counties until 5:45. Storms today starting on the western side of the state, but this afternoon the action shifting into East Alabama, especially right up and down Interstate 59. All of this stuff will gradually settle down once the sun sets later this evening, and this blanket of humidity goes absolutely nowhere. We're going to see scattered showers and storms in the forecast each day through next week, and that means they'll be random, not going to rain everywhere, but where they form, like today, they could pack a punch. Now, the next issue, it's the tropical system. This thing is actually inland over the Yucatan of Mexico. This is Tropical Storm Cristobal. Because the circulation is inland, that means it's weakening. Top winds are down to 50 miles per hour. This will likely weaken into a tropical depression tomorrow. And then it comes back out across the water by Friday night. It begins to strengthen again. The latest track from the Hurricane Center brings it into the Louisiana coast late Sunday afternoon. Is an upper end tropical storm, 45 or 65 mile per hour winds, then weakening near Monroe, Louisiana by 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. We are on that wet east side of the system. For the Alabama and northwest Florida Gulf Coast, dangerous rip currents from now until early next week. Rain amounts can be heavy at times, between 2 and 4 inches, especially over the weekend on Sunday, but understand it's not going to be continuous. In fact, I think you'll see some sun at times. If I had a beach trip planned, I would go. Winds 15 to 30. The stronger winds will be in Mississippi and Louisiana, and there might be a brief waterspout or a tornado involved in this thing. We'll keep an eye on it. And for the region, the heaviest rain will be across the southern part of the state. Rain amounts up this way will be considerably lighter. Take a look at our 10-day forecast. Pretty much a persistence forecast, a mixture of clouds and sunshine each day with scattered showers and storms. Coverage a little higher by Sunday and Monday. Chance of any one spot getting wet, 50 to 60% with highs mid to upper 80s. Catch my forecast every day on great radio stations around the state, including 97.3 Play.
As student athletes prepare to return to campus, Auburn head coach Gus Malzahn weighs in on what workouts for athletes will look like. It's next in You at 5. We've been talking this week about high schools starting voluntary workouts. Well, next week, Alabama, Auburn, and UAB reopen their campuses for their student athletes.
ABC 3340 sports anchor Jeff Spiegel joins us from the newsroom. And Jeff, last night Gus Malzahn talked about Auburn's plan.
He did, Brenda and Pam. They'll proceed cautiously, starting with each player getting tested first thing Friday morning, even if that player hasn't shown symptoms of COVID-19. If someone tests positive, he will be sent to a separate dorm for quarantine. Workouts will start Monday, all done in small groups with masks, using social distancing under the guidance of strength coach Ryan Russell.
We're going to need to be responsible. And, I think the motivating factor for that is, we all want to get back and play football. And I promise you our players are probably at the forefront of that. So with coming back, there's going to be a responsibility. And that responsibility is going to be making sure that you stay safe and you do the things that you're supposed to do.
2 days after the passing of Pat Dye, we say goodbye to another SEC coaching legend. Johnny Majors, coach of the Tennessee Volunteers from 1977 to 1992, died today at the age of 85. Coming up next hour, big news concerning the Alabama basketball team and one of its star players. Live in the newsroom, Jeff Spiegel, ABC 3340 Sports.
Well, you mentioned basketball, another sport looking to make a return. The NBA Board of Governors is set to meet Thursday. During their conference call, ESPN says that they plan to vote on a proposal that would allow 22 teams to restart in Orlando. The teams would begin training in July. The players then would be tested daily for COVID-19.
And before we go, we want to show you once again the skies over